Welcome to this morning's masterclass, and I'm just going to share again what it is and why I chose that song. Now, I can't record the songs because of copyright, but I'll explain the song as well for those that are watching the recording. This masterclass is all about vaccinating yourself. What are you vaccinating yourself with? Well, you're vaccinating yourself against the failure disease, Excusitis. Really bad, really bad. Excusitis is a made-up word that I made up. When we make up excuses, it does become like a disease. And I say vaccinate only because I've got a medical background. So it's almost like saying, you know what? Inject myself with something that stops me from making excuses. Why? Well, in one of my modules, module 5 of medical intuition, I talk about no reasons, no excuses, no justifications. And that's really important because when we do that, we actually disempower ourselves. When we make an excuse, we actually say, you know what, I'm not capable. We say that it's not possible. We give up on ourselves. We say we don't have confidence. We say we don't have self-worth. But none of those things are actually our truth. Our body knows our truth. And so, for example, in your solar plexus is confidence. Self-worth is in your sacrum bone. These body parts actually hold the emotions. So these things aren't true. But why do we make excuses? Now, let's start with why didn't you do your homework? The dog ate it. Now, I don't know that anyone's ever used that excuse, but I'm going to use it because I've heard it many, many times. The dog ate it. When in fact, we didn't actually do our homework. What we're saying is, you know what? It maybe wasn't of interest to us. Maybe I didn't understand. Maybe I don't know how to do it. Maybe I just don't want to do it. But instead of giving it an excuse and then us feeling bad, because that's the problem with this disease of failure, excusitis, is we start to feel bad. And then we start to make excuses for everything, whether it be not eating well, maybe not having good relationship, not good work situation, I'm not tidying up the house. These excuses build and build and build and build. And that's what this is. It's something that builds on top of each other and is a growth. I'm going a little bit medical because of my nursing background. It grows and grows and grows and grows and grows until we go, can't do. And that is so the opposite of what we used to teach in mystery school in the ancient wisdom. Everything is possible, everything is doable, everything is there for us. And we are a ball of potentiality just waiting to express and to create and to make happen. But we like to go into the excuses, and which is a very 3D paradigm. Mystery School was the first dimension beyond. And in this 3D world that we live in here on human planet, it's easy to make an excuse. In fact, we mimic parents, friends, authorities, teachers, television, TikTok, social media, whatever, with excuses. But in fact, if we just said, you know what, I don't want to do it, because children will do that. They'll say, I don't do the homework. And then they learn to make an excuse. Whereas it's actually quite damaging to our whole being. And instead of making an excuse, which then makes us feel like a failure on some level, and we can never actually be a failure, it's only us that determines whether we're a failure. Success is determined by your own belief system. When we make that excuse, we're actually cutting ourselves off from the absolute and the total reality of anything's possible. And then we go, well, that was kind of easy. But we get slack. We start to lose motivation. We start to see our own potential. And so when you vaccinate yourself against this concept, and that's all it is a little concept, that's it. And you look at the excuses and go, is that real? Is that really my truth? It's like, no. And quite often with the excusitis or excuses, we actually lie to ourselves. And then this hits the solar plex area as well. And the third dimension is held around the solar plex area. Energetically, it sits right on that space. And it's like we get caught up in the illusions of the 3D world. Lots of emotional pain, lots of transformation, but we resist it. Lots of growth, but we resist it. And so when we excuse ourselves, we actually say, well, oh, sorry. Now, for some of you that have done my medical intuitive courses, you'll learn about the word sorry and what it means and why I don't actually say it. And people are like, oh, yeah. Well, excusing yourself and sorry actually says you're sorry for being who you are. But Jim, what do I say on the manners level? Well, I don't know. Do you have to say sorry and excuse yourself? Well, excuse me, excuse me. I don't want you to do that. I want you to be open to the possibility of, oops, I just stood on your foot. Are you okay? By doing that, you acknowledge the person, you acknowledge what you did. It's no coincidence. Might be in a subconscious thing that that person needed their foot stood on because they were people pleasing. And me standing on their foot brought the awareness that they were people pleasing. Are you okay? Now let's go back to the excusing of yourself. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Sometimes, or maybe 99.99% of the time, when we excuse ourselves in excusitis, that disease, we actually shrink ourselves from the big, big, expansive energy that we are. We shrink right down, so small, so insignificant, smaller than a mouse energy. And what does that do to us? It makes us feel unwell in the mind and the body. Not so much the soul or the spirit, that's fine. That might, when we're giving ourselves an excuse after excuse after excuse of why we can't do something or have something, it is so far removed from the truth of who we are, what we can do, and what is possible. So let's go back to my words where I said, vaccinate yourself against the failure disease, excusitis. Do I vaccinate myself? Do I need to inject myself with something? Absolutely. What if you injected yourself and you can pretend your body loves imagination? Pretend the kids are good at this. Pretending that you're going to give yourself a needle of happiness or of I can do anything. Or it could be a drip, an IV. Pop it into your vein and watch it go through like bubbles, heart bubbles. What you're doing when you vaccinate yourself is actually saying, I am going to become immune. Not going to go into the thymus gland right here. The thymus gland, when we're born, is as big as a baby's fist. And then as we grow up, it actually shrinks. This beautiful little immune system here is also emotional immunity, according to medical intuition. And when we vaccinate ourselves, we become immune to what people think or say, and especially to ourselves, what we think or say as well. And when we vaccinate ourselves and become immune, well, there's no excuses. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm doing this. It's happening. So why don't we do it in the 3D world? Why do we get comfortable with the excuses? Because there's a collective consciousness just at the moment. Doesn't mean that you have to be part of it. Let's pretend here, over here, it's a collective consciousness, a 3D world that says, well, it's okay. You can excuse yourself that you can't do that because, and yet on the other side, fifth dimension beyond, fifth dimension is where anything is possible. Manifestation is instant. That other side says, well, there's no reasons or excuses or becauses or whatever, because it's all there for you. What do you want? Go for it. So why would we choose to stay in pain? Let's go back to the collective consciousness. And I'm going to go back to my medical background of nursing. Today's world, they were at the supermarket. There's a conversation that we've learnt to have. In front of me is a lady that's unpacking the shopping on her conveyor belt. There's someone behind me with a trolley. And I talk to the lady in front and say, oh, I just bought the grapes like that too, aren't they? Good. How are you? I'm good, but about my back. She starts to make excuses or talk negative about her health. Or the lady behind, she might say, and I'm making this story up, but I have heard it in the supermarkets. She might say, oh, I can't buy grapes because I can't afford them. But she's got her nails done, her eyelashes done, her hair's done. Maybe she can afford the grapes, but she chooses to spend the money on external things that make her feel better. No right, no wrong. When we do that, there's a collective consciousness that says you're more acceptable if you make these excuses, if you stay small. Oh my gosh. Now we're getting to the real point of vaccinate yourself against the failure disease, Excusitis. Mystery School was never about staying small, insignificant. It was always, always about shiny brilliance, always about being the best that you can be. Always be the example of what's possible. Always. I want you to think of two birds. One is a flamingo, and especially when it's eaten particular foods that make its feathers go pink, and then the peacock. These two birds and a medical intuition, animal medical intuition, are all about shine your brilliance. Think of a peacock when it suddenly floods out its beautiful feathers all behind. It's like, I am here. And part of Mystery School was saying, no more staying small, insignificant, not being seen. It's who you are. Tell people what you do. Don't be sorry for being you. Don't be sorry that you don't know that, or you haven't studied that, or you haven't been to university, or you didn't know how to cook that. I remember one time, I didn't grow up on boiled eggs. And I remember one time somebody saying to me when I was a young adult, can you boil up some eggs? And I'm like, no, I don't know how to do that. Can you show me? I didn't make an excuse. I just said, show me. And so I looked at how he boiled it. But then I said, I don't know how to actually crack the eggs open so that the eggs get all mutilated when you're taking off the shell. Didn't make an excuse. Also didn't give a reason, justification, or explanation. When the person said, oh, I had to boil an egg, and were doing some jest and teasing, I didn't go into the excuses because that makes me small. That's almost like saying, sorry for being who I am, when that person knows how to boil eggs. And I'm giving very small, everyday examples because when you apply it to there, it leads up to the big examples of when people say, why can't I make money? Or why can't I have a great relationship? Or why doesn't my healing business do well? Start with a boiled egg first. And when you say, I don't know, that's okay. Because we're here to learn and grow and prosper, all held in the solar plexus, the third dimensional area. And when we do grow, then we come up into the fourth dimension, which is held around the heart chakra, and we connect to the emotions of, oh, right, that's what it feels like. But then we come up to the fifth dimension, which is around the throat chakra area, and that's where we have that personal freedom. It's like, yeah, you know what? Anything is possible. I can do that. I just did it. It's okay. We're here to grow. And so I want you to think about just for a moment, where are you making excuses in your life right now? Is the excuse on not cleaning up the house, not taking time off, not having a massage, not having vitamins, not eating healthy, not cooking for yourself, not leaving the job because you don't like it. I don't know, trying to think, not cleaning out the paperwork. What's the excuse? Check it out. Before you go into the failure disease of Excusitis, check your own excuse out. See what's coming up for you. No one judges you but you. We think others judge us, but really, I'll be open. They might judge you for one moment, but then they focus on themselves. So let's say your excuse is that you haven't folded up the washing. It's still sitting on the couch. Washed it, you brought it in, but it's sitting on the spare bed. And it's been sitting there for like 4 days. What excuse are you using? And I'm going to make this up. Maybe you're using the excuse of, I just don't have time. And yet you sit down on your phone and then you scroll through Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Is there really time? Or what else is happening? Maybe you don't like the fine motor skills of putting the washing away. Now, I'm going to use my youngest son as an example. He and his girlfriend, he likes to do the gross motor skills, mow the lawns, do the pool, all those sort of things. Whereas his girlfriend is aqua personality. His girlfriend's crystal, and they're fine motor skills. They like all little attention to detail. And so he'd make the excuse, oh, I haven't got time, and yet his girlfriend, she didn't like to mow the lawns or do the pool. She liked to fold the washing and make it all neat and tidy. So they came to an awareness, growth, an evolution of he does that job, she does that. And again, I'm using everyday examples so you can see where are you making excuses? See what's going on for yourself so that you don't go into the illusion of feeling like a failure because there's no such a thing. Success is based on belief system and the story that you tell yourself. So, what was the excuse for not doing the washing? Maybe you find motor skills. Maybe you find it boring. Maybe you want to employ somebody to do your washing. Maybe you ask your partner, listen, I'll do this, you do this. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe you don't like those clothes anymore. Maybe as you fold those clothes, you think, oh, I wish I had new ones. When you go into awareness, which is held in the organ of the heart, you start to see the potential. You start to see the bigger picture of things, and you start to see the bigger picture of you. When we make excuses all the time, it comes back to a little tiny story that we've made big of saying we're not capable, we can't do it, no confidence, no potentiality, which is furthest from the truth. So let's go back to mystery school. Mystery school was seeing the best of ourselves and empowering ourselves and others. I've just brought it through in today's language, so it's much, much easier. And so this week, the practice is see where you've got Excusitis disease. And then where you've got it, where are you feeling like a failure? I haven't done. Is that your mindset? What's going on? Just ask a simple question. What's the excuse? What does it really mean? And then let the answer come to you, not from anyone else. It's more empowering to find your own Excusitis than somebody else to tell you, because that's their perception. So this week, I'd love you to vaccinate yourself against the failure disease Excusitis. And you can do that, as I said, imagination, or you might vaccinate yourself by surrounding yourself with amazing people that love you, support you, want to help you. Maybe they want to do a contra swap with you. I'll clean your house if you can type up my assignment. There's always people, things, and situations to support you. What's really going on for you? What is the excuse? Where did it come from? Does it serve you anymore? And I can guarantee you it doesn't. What if right from this moment, excuses, explanations, justifications, and reasons don't serve you anymore whatsoever? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to share your golden heart. What is a golden heart? A golden heart is what was that you got from today's lesson and that you share with everybody. Because Mystery School wasn't just about one person sharing and talking and learning and teaching. It was a group dynamic. And it was always taught like in a circle energy. And that's how I see it when I'm doing this on Zoom or if I'm doing it in person. We're going to have some sharing. And so I'm going to mention your name. And if you can't unmute, that's no problems. Put it in the chat. And then if you put a Y next to it, it just means that, yes, I can share it out to the group because everybody learns. So if you just unmute and maybe 30 seconds to share your golden heart, what is it you learned from today's lesson? You're amazing, absolutely amazing. So we'll start with Liz, Deb, and then Kim. If you can unmute yourselves, guys. If not, that's okay. While we're waiting for Liz, I'm going to go to Pauline, and thank you so much. Golden heart, no more excuses. Let's go, just like the song. Thank you so much. Love your Monday Masterclass of Wisdom to start my week. My pleasure. And as Pauline said, the song was Let's Go. And in that song, Let's Go, it talks about no more excuses. Just let's go. It doesn't matter what happened in the past, what's happening now. Let's go. Well, Liz, I don't know whether you can unmute, darling. We'll pop into Deb. Do you want to share for us, sweetie? I might go to Kim. Can you share with us, hon?
Everyone. Mine is when I excuse myself, that means I'm sorry about my existence. And I really like that the sentences like, yeah, I just hit you. Are you okay? Rather than the sorry thing. So it was a good reminder of when I went through my training. So thank you.
Yeah. And yes, Kim, when you did medical tuition, it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to excuse or be sorry for who I am. Because that just shrinks our energy big time, big time. Let's go to Ruth iPhone, because I don't know who that is, and Sandra. Just going to make sure you can unmute themselves because I made sure that you can unmute this morning. Oh, Ruth, thank you, darling. Thank you. I love the reminder to inject ourselves with a vaccination, e.g. I am beautiful. iPhone, do you want to share? My God, Sandra, Nay, and Leona.
Morning. My excuse at the moment is stop being tired and just take action.
Beautiful. And Sandra brings up a great point. Are we actually tired? And sometimes we can be really exhausted. And then sometimes we feel like we're tired when we set ourselves up for success, such as the night before, not at the moment because I'm still not 100% well in my health, but normally I'll set my gym clothes up and there's no excuses for not going for a walk. Everything's ready. All my bra, my top, my bottom, my socks, my shoes, my water bottle, everything is ready to go, right, fall out of my pajamas, fall into the clothes, go for a walk. There's no excuse. Or I could say, I'm so tired. I have to get the singlet top. I have to get my sports bra. So beautiful, Sandra. Thank you, my darling. Let's go to Nay.
Good morning, Jean. It's nice to see your face.
Thank you, darling.
Today for me was just shine your brilliance unapologetically and stop with the excuses.
That's a great summary. Great summary. It is. It's just like, and to shine our brilliance, brilliance, potential mean the same thing. And so if we go back to the peacock, feathers, it's like, I'm this ball of potential. I've come to this earth to actually experience love, life, have the best life. Well, I'm going to do it. And if I'm good at drawing, I'm going to do it. Or if I'm not good at drawing, I'm going to learn and practice and have good time. And just make excuses. And then let's go to Leona.
Morning, everybody. I only woke up at 5:05, so I've missed most of it, but I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. No excuse. She woke up 5 past 5. Boom. She's still here. So thank you so much, beautiful souls. And I really would encourage you to practice. Remember, each week is a lesson, and we just keep habit stacking so that you have another thing to practice, another thing to practice. And when you practice it, it becomes you, because habits are learnt. They're not something that we're born with. We learn the habit and we can unlearn the habit. And if you practice, well, is that an excuse? It is. No one's going to judge you. And I ask you not to judge yourself either. It's just the awareness of, okay, well, that is an excuse. No problems. Do I really want it? Do I want to do that? Go back to the want to and the why, because that's really important too. Making excuses just makes us feel really sick mentally and in the body, and it lowers our self-esteem big time. It affects the solar plexus big time. It affects the thymus chakra and the thymus gland, especially the thymus gland, our immune system. We start to become not immune to people, things, and situations. And so for me, and some of you know, just even at the moment, no excuses. I can't see you guys, so I've got $20, like now I can't see any of you really well, $20 like magnifying glasses from the camera so I could see you guys, and so I can work a couple of hours a day when my body's still recouping. Let's go. Let's make it happen. You know anything's possible. And all of my team, whether it's my team in Egypt or in Mexico or my team that work in my business, they know there's no excuses whatsoever. There's always an answer. There's always a possibility. Let's go. So have fun playing with this. And as I said, have fun vaccinating yourself with whatever it is, love bubbles or ideas or music or whatever it is, to go, yeah, let's go. So have the bestest week, and I really look forward to seeing you next week for the next lesson of Mystery School. Bye, everyone.